Once on a farm long ago, a mama duck sat on her nest. How long must I wait for my babies to hatch? I have to sit here all alone. But what could she do? A mama duck must keep her eggs warm till they hatch. At last, the eggs began to crack. One yellow duckling stepped out of its shell, then another. They all shook their wings. Quack, quack. Look at all of you, cried Mama Duck with joy. You are so cute. Quack, quack, they said. Come line up, said Mama Duck. We will go down to the lake for your very first swim. She counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh dear, she said with a frown. I should have 6 ducklings. One large egg was still in the nest. Well, said Mama Duck, it looks like that big egg will take more time. So she had to go sit on her nest again and wait some more. The next day, the big egg started to hatch. Out stepped a baby boy bird, and my goodness, how different this bird looked. For one, he was much larger than the others. He was not yellow, like the rest, but dark gray all over. And he walked with a funny wobble. One of the yellow ducklings pointed. What is that? He cannot be one of us. I have never seen such an ugly duckling, said another. How can you say such a thing? Said Mama Duck, in a stern voice. You are only 1 day old. Your brother hatched from the very same nest as you did. Now line up. We will go together to the lake for your very first swim. All the way the other ducklings quacked, ugly, ugly, ugly. The ugly duckling did not know why the other ducklings were yelling at him. He took the last spot in the line. When they got to the lake, each yellow duck jumped in and swam behind Mama Duck. When it was his turn, the ugly duckling jumped in too and started to paddle. At least he can swim, Mama Duck thought to herself. When the yellow ducklings go out of the water and started to play, the ugly duckling tried to play with his brothers and sisters. They yelled at him, Go away, we will not play with you. You are ugly, and you walk weird. When Mama Duck was close by, she would not let them talk this way. Be nice, she would scold, but she was not always close by. One day, one of the yellow ducklings said to the ugly duckling, You know what? You would do us a big favor if you just went away. All of them started to quack. Get out, get out, get out. Why won't they let me stay with them? Thought the ugly duckling. He hung his head down low. They must be right. I should go. That night, the ugly duckling flew over the farmyard fence. He flew until he landed on the other side of the lake. There he met 2 grown-up ducks. Can I please stay here for a while? Said the ugly duckling. I have nowhere else to live. What do we care? Said one of the ducks. It's a big lake. Just don't get in our way. Woof, woof. Suddenly a big hungry dog came tearing by, chasing the 2 ducks. They quickly flew up in the air, and their feathers fell down on the ground. The poor ugly duckling froze in fear. The dog sniffed and sniffed at the ugly duckling, then turned around and walked away. I am too ugly, even for the dog, said the ugly duckling, with his head hung low. The sky turned dark. Crack! A bolt of lightning lit up the sky. Then came a big storm, with heavy rains pouring down. In just moments, the ugly duckling was soaked through and through. A cold wind started to blow. Brr! He held both wings close to his chest. If only there was a place I could get dry. All at once, a tiny light blinked, far off in the woods. Could it be someone's hut? He flew to the door. Quack! Said the ugly duckling. The door of the hut creaked open. What is all this noise? Said an old woman, looking right and left. Her eyes were not that good, but she could hear. She looked down. Ah, it's a duck. She picked up the ugly duckling and dropped him inside her hut. You can stay here, but I expect you to lay eggs, she said. A tomcat and hen both crept up to the ugly duckling. Who do you think you are, coming in here and taking up room by the fire? Said the tomcat with a hiss. Squawk, said the hen. I am the only one around here who lays eggs. Don't worry, said the ugly duckling. I am a boy duck. Then why are you here? Said the tomcat. Did you not hear what the old woman said? Get out of here, pretender, clucked the hen. Go away, hissed the tomcat. The door was still a bit open, so the poor ugly duckling slipped out the door and back into the storm. No one ever wants me, said the ugly duckling, with a tear in his eye. The storm ended. Soon he found another lake. Looking in the water, the ugly duckling saw the reflection from above. It was a flock of large birds flying by. He turned to look at them, and could not believe it. Winging through the sky were the most beautiful birds he had ever seen. Their long bodies and slender necks seemed to glide in one motion. He watched until the very last bird winged its way out of view. The ugly duckling stayed at the lake, all by himself. The days grew shorter. The leaves turned deep red and gold, and then fell to the ground. Winter came, setting its blanket of white snow. The cold wind blew and the clouds darkened. The ugly duckling had to walk on the cold icy lake to find an open spot where he could dive into the freezing water and find fish to eat. It was all he could do to paddle the water to keep it from freezing around him and trapping him in the lake. I am so tired, he said, paddling with all his might. The ice got thicker and drew closer to him. In a moment, two giant hands swept him up. You poor thing, said a farmer. He held the ugly duckling close to his thick warm wool jacket. You didn't fly south with the others. The farmer was carrying him someplace, but where? The next months were lovely. Warmth from the heat of the fire and also from the heart of the farmer. For the rest of the winter, the farmer cared for the ugly duckling. At last, spring came. Tips of green dotted the tree branches. Short, bright flowers popped up from the ground. It is time for you to go back to the lake to swim again, as you were born to do, said the farmer. He took the duckling back to the lake, where he had found him, and set him with care on the water. I feel good, said the young bird, flapping his wings. Why, I don't think I ever felt as strong as I do right now. He heard quiet splashing sounds behind him, and turned around. A flock of those same beautiful birds he had once seen winging through the sky had landed beside him on the water. Don't worry, he said to the beautiful birds, holding out one wing. I will go away. I will not make trouble for you. A tear rolled down his cheek, and he turned to go away. When he looked at the lake, he saw a reflection in the water that looked like one of those beautiful birds. Why was that bird so close to him? He jumped back, and the reflection jumped back, too. What is this? He said. He stretched his neck, and the reflection of the beautiful bird in the lake stretched its neck, too. Why are you going so soon? Called out one of the beautiful birds. Stay here with us, said another. We'll be friends. Then the bird who used to be the ugly duckling knew what had happened. He was no longer an ugly gray bird that wobbled when it walked. He had become a swan. At one moment, all the swans flapped their wings and took off into the sky. Come with us, one called back. Take the lead. So he flapped his wings fast and took his place in front of the whole flock. All his new friends flapped their wings behind him. Say, he said, gliding and dipping through the sky as he sped on. Who's an ugly duckling now? Surely not I.